Monday, April 18th. Let's see. I don't know where I last left off. Wait, let me look. Okay. Yes, I did look up the previous video. Gosh, a lot happened in 2 days. So that was the 16th? That was 2 days ago. That was Saturday. Okay. So that night I connected with La Doctora, so that was nice. And she brought up a good point that I hadn't paid attention to in terms of some of my dreams from the past. The one specific, because I was updating her, right, about the theme of this person from my past being highlighted in a lot of my dreams, and realizing now, right, in retrospect, it's just part of my healing. It was just me, really. I mean, that's the only thing I can attribute it to is just my healing and this work on letting go, right, of fully separating myself from this person, and then even just how some of the themes were highlighted with like the shifting in the themes. Like I was explaining to her about the one that I got a little after the New Year's, where I thought it was everything I wanted, where he was connecting with my mom and my sister and getting to know my ex, because that was always something that was important to me, that, you know, he get along with my ex. And so then I'm explaining to La Doctora, like just updating her. I'm like, well, and then this happened recently, right? And then she said something to me. She's just like, it's interesting that you're putting still like a lot of emphasis on making sure that the relationship that I have with my ex, right, that whoever comes in is okay with it, even though right now, like, he and I are not okay. Because I reached out to him. I reached out because it was just, I don't know if I mentioned, it was just bugging me. It was just bugging me that he screenshot that image of that one video, and in the back, even though I already know the answer, like, I'm just like, just confirm it for me. And I asked him, you know, may I ask you a question? You know, yes or no will do. Was that the only video you cared to watch out of all the videos I've posted? Was that the only one you chose to listen to? And I sent that one on Saturday. He has yet to respond. I was thinking about that. I was like, really? And so when she highlighted that for me, I was just like, you're right. Like, why? Initially, and I told her, I was like, initially I was doing it for the kids. Like, I was doing it for our nieces and nephews, like, wanting to make sure that our separation was amicable, right? And thinking more for them. And now I'm just like, no, why am I, you know, holding myself back from happiness if this person doesn't get along with my ex? Like, no, that's not okay, right? And so she highlighted that for me. I was like, no, you're right. Just like, what am I doing? So I'm so grateful for our conversation. And we talked for like almost, was it 3 hours? 3 or 4 hours. And just even sharing with her, like, the shift that I realized within me of, like, not putting a limit anymore to being a mother. Like, I realized, I'm just like, you know what? No, like, I'm not, if the opportunity ever presents itself, yeah, I'm gonna fully embrace it. Doesn't matter how old I am. And this element of fairness for the child, it's just like, no, because the child will not know anything other than love, right? Because it was concept of time. We're talking about time because we're both older. Even though I feel like really young, but I'll be 41 almost in a month. And so this element, right, of like, well, if I have children in the next 10 years, let's say, right? I'll be 50. And they'll be, you know, however old they are. And so this element of not having the same amount of energy. And I'm just like, you know, I have cousins that are parents that are older. And I think it just goes back to like, right, that self-care. As long as I make sure that I'm taking care of me first, right? Recuperating my energy, setting the limits and boundaries around me of people that drain me of my energy, then I should be fine. If that ever happens. Like, am I eagerly seeking it? No, I'm not. You know, there's not this innate desire within me to get pregnant right now. If anything, I'm just enjoying life. Shoot, it's 12 o'clock. So that happened, and then this new person responded back, and it prompted me a response back, like right away, like, no, that's not what I meant. And realizing, right, like this whole process with having agreements and working through conflicts in a close relationship, it's not even like we're strangers still getting to know each other, really, but it's still this element of like, let's not give up on what we already proposed. Like we initially proposed that we would talk about the hard stuff. And so anyways, so I proposed. So I went to the post office and my packages didn't arrive, so I didn't get my book. But so I proposed that, you know, after his talk, you know, I'd be open to hanging out, and if he was. And so I really just used the time yesterday. The talk was incredible. Like I learned so much, and I was so grateful to for all the artists who presented and performed. Like it was just like, wow. Clarissa Bitar, oh, like wow. Yeah, that's good. It's good. And his talk too. Like yeah. So anyways, listened to that. Was cleaning, was working. And then we agreed to meet up to go to Land's End Trail again, which was really nice. And on the way there, like I was just clarifying and you know, just clarifying like what I meant, and realizing too, like I was realizing Saturday night and yesterday morning, I'm like, you know, maybe I'm just supposed to help him, right? Maybe that's just my purpose. It's nothing more, nothing less, other than to help him. Like why else? Like why else, right? Would a therapist cross the road? And that's what I was telling him. I was just like, I think I'm just supposed to help you. Why else would a therapist cross the road with an artist who's stuck emotionally in this situation and he's trying to get out of it emotionally? And it just so happened to be a painting that he was, you know, mural that he was working on that was outside of his comfort zone, right? A type of mural that he's not used to painting, but yet happened to be the mural that caught my attention and evoked all this stuff within me. So I was telling him yesterday, I was just like, I think maybe I'm just supposed to help you. Like, nothing in return, nothing like, you know, like I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm not looking for something long term. Like, I mean, I'd say that to him, but in my mind, right? I'm like, okay, Yubi, what do you want? What do you want? Yes, I know, like, you know, they, right, in my dreams said I needed to find a king for my throne. But I'm like, I'm not really actively seeking. I just want to have fun. Because my work is my priority. So I thought about that, and you know, just reflecting on what he said too about where he's at, and he doesn't want to be tied down. He's not ready for that, and you know, I definitely don't want to be tied down. So I thought about that, and so I was like, you know, I'm gonna propose to him. Like maybe I'm just supposed to help him if he's willing to listen, right? Because that's the difference. Like everyone else didn't want to listen to advice. They didn't want to listen to advice. They wanted to figure it out themselves. So, anyways, so I thought about proposing him that and letting him know that I'm, you know, that I'm open to just spending time with him and helping him. And if at any point, right, and this I did tell him, I said, if at any point you don't want to do this anymore, you can tell me and we'll stop. And then I said too, I was just like, a few weeks down the road, you can come back to me and say, Yubi, I have found the love of my life. And I will tell you, go. don't walk, run. And follow your heart. Because don't let me hold you back, right? Don't let me be a person that holds you back from following your heart. I don't want someone to stay with me out of obligation. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I've done that. Don't want to do that again. And I would hate for someone to, hate is such a strong word, but yeah, I don't want someone to stay with me out of a sense of obligation. No. What kind of life would that be? No, thank you. That's what I told him. Well, not all of that stuff, but just the stuff about, if he changes his mind because he found the love of his life, then go. I'm okay. So I told him that, and it was nice. We went to he's so stimulating, like mentally, I'm so fascinated with how he gets to his conclusions, and just I'm learning so much about that world, and I'm trying to, like learn about that world, and then also look at what I know, and then I'm asking him questions like, this is what I know about the world that I am in, the work that I do on an individual level, right, with the therapeutic relationship with another person. Can this apply? Can we apply this in a bigger sense, right? In just learning about interpersonal violence and learning about just the work that I do. And I told him, I was like, one of my imaginary conversations with him, he wanted to know, was about passion and how I got to the conclusion, right, that the work that I do is in alignment with my passion, because I help bring people back to life, right, from the stuckness of the past to to the present, from the worrisome and over focus on planning for a future that's not yet here, to just the present moment. And this moment is life. So he really liked that. I appreciated that he liked that. And but just like asking him, I'm like, this is what I do with my clients, like how would we be able, right, just posing questions, how would we apply this at a bigger scale to manifest, right, the power of that, power of words, how to manifest a society that we want. So anyways, it was just a stimulating conversation. And then we went out to eat to another Chinese food. Oh my god, freaking delicious. That was yum. It was so yummy. And he was kind of like, I was like just really tickled that the food was delicious. And I was explaining, I'm like, I don't eat out often, so when I do, it's like a real treat for me. I'm just like, all the flavors. And then I invited him back. We came back and hung out, and that was stimulating too. And I told him up front, I was just like, look, I'm gonna tell you up front, like I ain't gonna put out. I ain't gonna put out. And he was okay with that, and he spent the night, which was nice. Like I wanted him to spend the night. I had invited him to spend the night again, just to spend the night, and we did. We just slept, and it was really nice. Like it felt good. It felt good to just have another body next to me. I had another dream about him, and that's what prompted. Oh, gosh, I need to go. That's what prompted bringing it back full circle. Why I wanted to record. So I had a few other dreams about him, and then there was a set of dreams. I couldn't tell if it was like a junk dream, because there were elements of the previous day, the topics of the previous day that we were talking about. And not even about, like, we weren't talking about specific people, but, I mean, I I don't know how to explain it. Like there was just elements of it, but it made sense at the same time. So it wasn't like sporadically like not coherent or not. I don't know if that's the right word, but like where it didn't make sense. And so the scenes that stood out, and I told him this morning, I was like, I dreamt of you again. I dreamt of you again. And the difference was that in one of the scenes, it was just him and I, and we were in bed, and it felt good. Like that was it. We were just hanging out. And then the other scene, I'm in the car with him, and I'm going with him to school. It's like a high school, and he checks it. It's like he knows, like he's just like he's known the high school, and I'm following him, and I'm like, dude, like, aren't we supposed to check? And he's just like, oh, don't worry. So we go into the classroom, and the classroom is being led by a teacher that I used to work with, who was not a teacher though. In how I know her in real life is that she was a previous special education director. But in this particular classroom, she's the teacher. And once he arrives, and I'm just sitting and I'm watching him, like I'm a visitor, because I really don't have a role in it. So I'm at the sideline watching him kind of take over the class. And she's glad that he's, like, there's this element of trust that the teacher had with him. Like, oh, great, you're here. And he's like engaging with the student, and there's just this element like he knows what he's doing, and very confident, and very like he's just owning it, like totally bossing it, right? And I'm just watching him like do his thing. So that was the main one that stood out for me. I was like, oh wow. Yeah. And then the other scene, there was a scene with my ex, and he's been on my mind clearly, right, because of this text. And I was thinking a lot about him yesterday too, about just like, wow, like he's really pissed. I mean, it makes sense, right? Clearly. I'm not innocent here. But, you know, at the same time, it's just like, and realizing, right? Like, it's just a reflection back to him. That's all it is, right? I triggered him. I trigger people. And I'm just reflecting back to him what needs his attention. It's 12:12. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So then I started reflecting on the previous, just to end it really quick, the dreams from the previous week, where I thought it was something more long term, but no, I realized it did happen, where the dream that I had was where he was trying to impress me, but then, but he was doing it by withholding information from me, right? And then I ended up finding out. And then I wonder if that was really more speaking to the event that happened a few days later, where he was supposed to come over, not just to pick up his glasses, but he was supposed to cook for me. He was supposed to make, how do you say it? He said hummus. I like how he says hummus. He says there's a specific way to say it, and I love how he says it. But he was supposed to come over and cook for me, and he didn't, because he had forgotten of this other, he was teaching, he was invited to teach in, I think at a community college, maybe, I don't know. So anyways, he the class ended up finishing, but then he forgot about our agreement and what was at the studio. And I reached out and I was just like, hey, are you still alive? Because then at first I was upset. I'm like, oh snap, I hope nothing bad happened. And so then I wonder if that dream that I had was predicting that, right? He was trying to impress me by coming over and cooking, but he actually, you know, it didn't turn out that way. And he was withholding information, which was that he had something else planned, and that I ended up finding out the truth, right? So then I'm wondering now with this particular dream, like if it's going to be something this week that happens to him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out these dream situations. I didn't post this morning. because, we got back and continued to have a very stimulating evening without me putting out, but still, it's nice. It was fun. I had fun. And now I need to focus on work and the rest of the week and go check my mailbox to see if my package arrived and move my car, because that's where I need to go. That's it. All right, gotta go. It's Italian. Io, it's Italian. It's Italian. Io. It's Italian. I was watching my show. The one show that I watch consistently, My Brilliant Friend. It's called, on HBO Max, and I'm trying to catch up on last week's episode. And the little girl, Nino asks who wants a frittata or something like that. They're having brunch, and the little girl says, she says io. And I was like, that's the word that came out of my mouth. In the dream. And I was just like, oh, and I had to replay it. I'm like, io, that's the word. And it is it's
Io.
Italian.
Io.
It's Italian. I'm just so happy that I found out that it's Italian. That it's Italian. It's Italian. Okay, that makes sense. Like, was I practicing Italian? No, I was practicing French. What's French? That's I was learning French. While we're going to Europe, my job was to learn French, not Italian though. What would it be in French? Je t'aime. That's so fascinating that it's Italian. It's Italian.
Io.
That's so cool.
Io.
It's Italian. I guess that's it. I just wanted to record. It's April 18th. I just wanted to record that it's Italian. That it's the io. It's Italian. Oh, I hope I get the next puzzle piece on that. It's Italian. That's so cool. I just wanted to record that. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself or or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and you know, we'll see what else comes next for me.